the UNNC. Oh, but it seems like it's on now. I'm going to go check our YouTube channel to make sure it's streaming.
Okay.
Okay, so Grace is here. Janice is hosting. You don't need me, right? Is that correct?
Hi, Grace.
Now I think I'm afraid I'm going to have the echo again. Hi, Grace.
Howdy.
You have to close that window, Dennis. Just exit out. Just close it.
Which window am I closing?
The window for YouTube.
Okay.
So do you hear the echo?
Well, I'm out,
Okay.
but I don't have a meeting.
But do you hear the echo?
I do not hear the echo. I don't have a screen though.
Well, we see you clearly.
Well, that's good. Let's see what we can find here. There? No? Well, if you can see me and you can hear me, that's a great start. Let's try this again.
I didn't hear that last part. What did you say?
No,
Dennis?
I think we're going. You're so smart. We got there.
Okay.
Thanks everyone for your patience. Trickiest part of all of this is getting to live streaming, isn't it? How are things in DC?
Cold.
Oh, sorry about that. Well, I hope I see everyone muted. There's no reason to be muted and to not be on video. So come on board, everyone. Okay, I
Here.
think Corinne's back. Good.
I'm back.
Teresa's back.
Yes, and I just checked the live stream and it is coming through, so it's all good.
Excellent.
Yeah, I wonder how many times I'm gonna have to do this to make it seamless. Well, anyway, here we go. We're streaming, we're live. Welcome,
Practice
everybody.
makes perfect, Dennis.
Okay. The trial and error method of life. I've been
Yeah.
living it. Okay. Well, I have the hardcore of people interested in public safety and emergency preparedness. So I'm now calling the meeting to order because it's quite late to start this meeting. And I would normally ask everyone to introduce themselves, but we know who you all are. And I'm going to make the very abbreviated announcement that we're still meeting virtually because of various legislation that you've all heard about, and that's set forth entirety in the notice of the meeting. And I think that's going to suffice for purposes of this meeting. So, and in that same notice, I'm asking for approval of the agenda. Now, if you had a chance to see the agenda, great. If anyone needs to see the agenda right now, let me know and we'll put it up. Okay. Having now determined that you've all seen the agenda, I'm asking for approval of the agenda, and I think you can just raise your hand for that one. We're off to a great start. Okay, that's a majority. Now, this is the time for public comments. You know we've got a few things on the agenda, but if someone's got something they want to bring up, now's the time. Remember, we're not going into a full response to it, but we'd like to hear about it if you have something. So I open the floor for public comments. Anyone? I see we're the lean, mean meeting machine here. We'll move right along. On the agenda, because we've been involved in setting a couple things up, this is a very brief report, and I'll just give an overview of it. We had this mini CERT Graybird exercise, nearly a month ago, and there was a great turnout. 50-some attendees came. The point was to simulate both the assessment of damage and then the incident response. So, as an example, and I've told this to Grace already, as an example, I led a damage assessment team. So 3 of us go around with a radio operator, like James, who is always operating the radio, and we had a scribe, believe it or not. And that makes great sense. So the three of us went around, and we happened to come across 9 or so incidents. And the point of that is we assess them, see if someone needs to come out right away, and an incident response team comes out. So the point that I can make right now in summarizing this is that it takes several teams to take care of this. We don't just go out as a cert and fix everything automatically. We kind of assess the situation. And I think you all know the first situation to assess is yourself. You know, you got to see if you're okay, if your house is okay before you go out there and help others. So, also, it's obviously this is the greater good for the greater number in this type of exercise. So anyone have any comments or questions about these disaster training exercises? Yes, Jamie.
Hi, everybody. So I was actually there too. I was part of the medical team, and as people were coming in and injured or triage, and not just triage, but attending to what we can, and that was really, really helpful too. And then there was not just an assessment team, but there was response teams that were going out, and there were so many people. It was the first time they tried to have a medical, I guess for lack of a better phrase, a transportation team to pick up the people from triage that were going into shock or anything into some kind of facility or hospital. So they were driving around the block. It's actually really, really good that there were so many people for the first time that they've had, because I guess the pandemic, they didn't have many exercises, and then there are not many going on. So there was a lot of people that joined this one. So it became a little bit difficult to manage because there's so many people that weren't planned.
Yeah, the professionals. Go ahead.
No, but I think it was a fantastic exercise. I think it shows everyone the opportunities that they are not just working with people that they're not normally in functioning teams, but also people to understand that that when they're holding a role, it's they have to own it. They have to take responsibility for that role, whether they're the team lead or the lead of the medical facility or the triage unit. Because some people were not very comfortable ordering other people and not understanding that it's nothing personal. It's that when you're under an emergency, you have to just function under a certain process and guiding people in what needs to be done.
Absolutely. It was overall, it was wonderful to do it and get all those people out. And as I was saying, the professionals were pleased with it, but we need lots of practice. But good, because I happen to be damage assessment. We brought out incident response teams, and at one time we needed a transportation. We had somebody that was concussed, that was also physically injured at the same time, and so we were calling for transportation, and it was difficult because we weren't practiced at doing it, and they kept hollering back and forth. It's like sending a fax or something as an email attachment. You call the person and ask them if they got it. We were like running from place to place just to see if it would work. But that's a good reason for us to get maybe not a full-on exercise like this, but something in our own neighborhood. And they've offered it. Patrick and Chin say they can, and our friend Vincent, who's not here tonight, they can do that if we just give them a spot and get people out, the publicity, and we could learn how to at least make the first step ourselves. Mm-hmm. That's a chance for another meeting to see what we can put together there. But yeah, I'd like to do that. It's available. So we'll have to think of a spot. Anybody want to get into that discussion right now? Where could anyone have any ideas where we could hold such an exercise that really is within our neighborhood council?
Well, we could do it at Benny Potter Park.
I was going to say the exact same thing. Benny Potter Park is nice and open.
Yeah.
Okay. Since this available apparently are once a month, if we program ahead of time, let's think about publicity, because the second report concerns the safety fair, and no matter how much publicity we try to generate, we didn't get people from our neighborhood council out there. We think we got 2 people, for knocking ourselves out, trying to get the word out. So that would be pretty difficult. I think we have subgroups. For example, the Western Heights neighborhood association had a meeting just the other day about earthquake preparedness, and our own Harvard Heights has meetings, although they just postponed their last meeting. That might be a much better way to get people to one of these. I suggest we not actually schedule it until we can see that we've got some sort of response, because the people that set together the safety fair did a great job, but they didn't get as many people as they deserved. Anyone have any ideas in terms of getting the word out?
I'm wondering if there's a grocery store parking lot so that we have like a captive audience. I don't know, instead of Benny Potter Park.
I remember last year, probably June or so, when we were having the elections, Raheem scheduled a shredding event at the market at 10th and the Washington Square Market. And it was on the side. That might be because we could work with them to ask if we can have that area on the side like we did for the shredding event and do something there. No, I mean, because there are a lot of community people, just going to the grocery store and the post office and everything in that little plaza. That might be
okay. So that's a couple good ideas. Once again, it's the publicity. I don't know that we're going to be able to Shanghai the people in the grocery store with their shopping cart and take them through emergency preparedness. Perhaps the grocery store gives us another key, because we can post things in the grocery store. Maybe people still look at the bulletin boards when they go in there. That's a little old-fashioned, but it might actually work.
I'd say it's right up our alley in our neighborhood.
Okay.
Going the old-fashioned route.
Well, I'd like to just simply at this point put this on something to everyone give some thought to for the next meeting, and we'll talk about some specifics. Publicity being so important, and nothing wrong with checking. Well, see, Benny Potter Park, I don't think we really have to worry about that. Does anyone have any information that says we might be prohibited from doing this in Benny Potter Park?
Oh, no, we could do it there. I would just schedule with the director, the facility director, to make sure there isn't a quinceañera or some other, event going on. If we let her know and, advanced timing, she could just put it on the calendar. So
I sure like that a lot with the grocery store also as a pop-up, as a backup. The publicity part, let's think about for the next meeting, ways of getting the word out. I just had more contact with my neighborhood, getting people to sign the petition for speed humps than anything else. And maybe we have to just drop things off at people's houses. I'm not opposed to printing out a notice on this, one side English, one side probably Spanish in my area mostly, and distributing it. Grace, you're gonna say something?
Yeah, no, I think maybe dropping postcards, letting people know is a way we need to go. And maybe we can get the senior complex next to my house, since there's like 60 people living there that should know all about public safety and being prepared anyhow, and then getting people to come in. They've got space.
Okay, I like this. Postcards, I know we were asked at one meeting, did anybody ever get their postcard? I never got a postcard that was supposed to be mailed out. No. Did anyone here receive one?
I did.
Good.
Yes, I received it.
No, Grace
You
says
guys
no.
didn't get it either.
No.
Oh, wow.
Jane, no. Okay. Poor Harvard Heights isn't, and well, I guess everything north of Washington is having a problem here getting a postcard. I think this is a continuing issue to talk about getting the word out. But if we'd all give some thought to how to particularly do that and bring something to the next meeting. I'm ready to bring a little flyer and let's think about a postcard.
Do you think a conversation should be had with outreach or communications?
Sure. Yeah. Communications clearly for the postcard, and Lizzie for, just for outreach on that. She was so much behind the next event we're going to talk about. Yeah, before we really go forward, definitely We can try something we tried once before, which is to invite both those committees to this meeting, which didn't work last time, but we'll give it another try.
I'm trying to get something done through communications. I was unable to attend last time, but it was my initiative with Recreation and Parks. I actually went to their meeting, and Donna Jones, the co-chair, I asked her to speak on, what we're trying to get done. So maybe the effort has to be to go to their meeting, to ask to be put
I
on
was
the
gonna
agenda.
say exactly that, Teresa. We need to go to them.
If we want
So
something
their
from them,
Yeah, we got to join their communications instead of us asking them to join us. We'll join them.
okay. Let's see. I will make an effort to get scheduled at the next meetings to get our committee schedule, whoever wants to attend from this committee. A takeaway for me. Anything more on the thought of a future mini-cert at this time? Okay. Just reporting on what happened yesterday, and we were all there, so I don't know if I have to make a very big report. Laura, I think you're listening in, so you weren't there. I think we should all be proud of what we did, and the organizers of the fair should be proud of what they did. They had a masterful bit of planning. They got a huge turnout with vendors, with information, giveaways, training. We could just use more people, but thanks again to those who did attend. So we've got, thank you, Corrine, thank you, Grace, thank you, Teresa, thank you, Lizzie, who's not here, thank you, Paul, thank you, Nuriel, and Greg.
And
did well.
Dennis.
Oh, and me too. Thank you. Yeah. That is amazing. They put that together. Just like some of the other things, there's been a few years since this happened. There was a couple of years between the first and the third, I guess. And here we're the fourth. Any feedback on anybody who was there or has a question? Oh, yes, Corrine.
No, she
Well,
was
my
doing a thumbs up.
I was doing a thumbs up, but I
Okay.
immensely enjoyed the fair. Oh, I was telling my sister she missed out. She couldn't come. But I really enjoyed how everything was super organized and just talking to the different vendors and the upcoming events that they have planned, like through Public Works or the City Parks and Recreation, and just getting new information. That was really fun. And of course the goodies that they give away. So it just made it really happy, and everybody was super friendly, and I enjoyed it immensely talking to everybody.
Well said. Yeah, I just described it to somebody. It was a fine day. I enjoyed meeting our neighbors. Everybody was friendly and happy to be out and doing this sort of thing. And I learned a lot just walking around to the other vendors and some of the other information people. You think you know it all, and there's always something more. What the next issue on our agenda is just to report on what happened, because we had a complaint at the prior meeting about the streetlights being out in Venice. That's on, I think it's between, essentially coming off of Western and moving eastward a couple of blocks. And we've all complained. I said I would do something. I took it to Danielle, who took it to the street lighting people. I took it to our city attorney, well, our prosecutor from the city attorney's office for our area, Lee, and said, this is a crime issue. We got more lights on our street based upon crime that was going on. And I got to say, what he did, plus or minus, is he just took it to the Bureau of Street Lighting and gets back to me, said, well, they've got it. They're aware of it. And other areas, in fact, that was one of the things that was discussed by more than one person at the safety fair, is their streetlights were out. People were stealing the copper and the little transformers in the vase. So I have no great ideas how to get past this, other than have a friend in the mayor's office, something like that. That's just going to hang over us for a while, like other things that aren't being done, like the illegal parking, the dumping, the other things that keep us busy. That's why we're here. The resiliency plan. This is just a report. Yes, Teresa.
I just want to go back for a second. I was listening to the Public Works Committee, and they're going to allocate some funds because it's happening all over the city. where the copper lights are being stolen. The copper wiring are being stolen out of city lights. So
Mhm.
they're trying to come up with a strategy now to weld the boxes or to do something to deter that being stolen. But there was an area, Degnan and I don't know, MLK, but for 2 or 3 blocks, they had street lighting in the middle between those large pine trees. And there isn't any street lighting, it was just in the median, and all those lights were out for 2 weeks. So it was completely dark for about 2 blocks in that area. So it's a problem that they're having everywhere throughout the city.
I'm delighted to hear that it's been given that level of, excuse me, being given that level of consideration. Did you hear anything about where they're going to get funds to deal with this?
I'm not sure. I think they're trying to get it out of, I was listening to the Public Works Committee with the City Council, but I think the Board of Public Works and the commissioners are trying to address it because the Bureau of Street Services is under the Board of Public Works. So they're trying to.
You are more conversant with this procedure than I am, but is this something that would be worthy of a CIS from our neighborhood council?
Oh, I'm sure. You know what? I can look up and find out if there's what council motion is open right now, and that we could submit a letter on that. How about I try to identify that
Please
motion?
do that. Yes,
Yeah.
that's the fact that we're doing something makes me feel a lot better. Thank you. Anything else? Okay. On our agenda, the last is just a report on the resiliency plan. And Grace knows that Sarah Lacey has really come forward and gotten 2 interested Dominguez Hills students, both looking forward to a career in law someday, interested in working on this. And we did meet the first time at the beginning of the month. And there's a checkpoint meeting tomorrow, which would be quite nice. The feeling was by all at the meeting, both the interns, Sarah and us, that the North Hills plan that we've been looking at is a fine example. And it's a great starting point because those are things that we want to know. A great plus to that is that both interns are ready to take a look and see what they observe, see if there's some other way to go or some other issue that looks investigation. You know, even in high school, one of the interns started out with something like this. And as she was partway through it, discovered there was another direction you should go. And she did. So I'm quite enthused about that. Any comments,
just to
questions?
remind you, as far as
Yes.
interns are concerned, yesterday, when we were at the public safety fair, I ran into the governor's California climate fellow. There's something
Yes.
like, did he say 140 of them throughout the state? I would
Yes.
love for us to get one. And because we are quasi-government, or if we were a nonprofit, we would qualify to have our very own fellow who would be paid by the state. So Dennis and I will be looking further into this to seeing how real it is to have this person, because they can do all these wonderful things and projects in our neighborhood. Anything to deal with climate and safety go hand in hand. So we will be pursuing that.
Good. We'll probably talk about trees too, as long as we got them.
Yes, Teresa, trees too.
Is that alliterative? Teresa for trees. I love that. Yes. You were so impressive, by the way, when I moved to become part of the neighborhood council. I figured trees was my issue. And I saw what you were doing. I said, I ought to find something else to work on that to be taken care of.
Oh, Dennis, more hands, I think one of the things they're saying now are all hands on deck, all eyes on trees. So as many people that want to work with trees and preserve our canopy, I think that's better. I mean, that's great.
What was that recent report? I don't know where we heard it, but typically throughout the city, there's a 27% tree canopy and we've got 8%.
Right. The city forest officer last week, she came in. Yeah. That's what the statistics she stated.
Those are all the items specifically set forth on the agenda. So now we come to that part of the meeting where we say, is there any other old business? Good. That means there's nothing else that we're that we're sort of behind on. Any new business that anyone wants to propose? Oh
No,
my
we have
gosh.
plenty of homework to complete, so nothing needed to be added at this point till we get those tasks done.
Yeah, we have some worthwhile endeavors here. Yeah. Thank you all. I think this was wonderful. Last chance for new business. Yeah, as they say, going, gone. Thank you all very much. This is a very rapidly concluded meeting that got started late, but we kind of made up for it with the cohesiveness of our discussion here. So have a
Beautiful.
have a great week, month, whatever, till we all meet again. Some of us will meet. Are you going to be able to tune in on that tomorrow, Grace?
I will be tuning in tomorrow in between meetings as well. Yes, and now I go. Bye.
Okay, bye, Grace.
Bye-bye. Good night, everyone. Thank you all.
And Dennis, I just want you to know that I try to check in everybody who has a meeting, like for the first 5 minutes, I go to make sure we're streaming okay. So if you have any problems or anything, I'm not sure if you have my number, you can always text me, but every UNNC meeting, I try to be available the first 5 minutes or so to make sure that it's flowing properly. So
I do appreciate that, but I wrote down on my checklist of how to get into this, close the YouTube window once it gets open.
yeah, it's a little
So-
tricky there. So, but I just want you to know I'm available if anything ever comes up again and I'm not participating in your meeting. You can always text me.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay.
Thank you.
night,
Good night,
Teresa.
everybody.
Thanks, Corinne. And
Thanks.
good night, Laura. I
Bye-bye.
know you're out there somewhere.